here's why I kind of wanted Emilia Clarke to win, because it would almost be, in my opinion, sort of indication for what they did to her character. They're like, okay, you're going to kill her, but we're going to give her a fucking Emmy. So what have you been up to these past few weeks?
Well, it's really been longer than that, but
I looked today, because as you do, you're constantly listening to podcasts and stuff, and I was like, I think it's been like 4 weeks since our last episode. I think that's right. And I looked back, and it was like August 5th, and I was like, holy shit!
Yeah,
it's been almost 2 months.
It's been that's been very unintentional.
Absolutely, yeah, on both our parts.
Yeah,
you got summer, and you got work, and you got family, and there's so many things going on. So we apologize for those folks out there that's taking us forever to get back. Yeah, not been our intention, but just life sometimes gets in the way.
Yeah, I mean, we're definitely still gonna try to get back into a way more regular schedule. But yeah, I mean the past few months have been crazy. I mean, I've just been on like 3 or 4 different film sets, just trying to.
Nice.
And yeah, and this is stuff that's not for the school. These are just contacts I've made, and I even got paid for a sound gig. Which was cool, yeah. And then right now we just wrapped up finishing our last short film, the production for that. So now we're going into post-production. So things are they've kind of mellowed out a little bit as far as that goes. And I want to take a break, but I say that, but if anybody asks me to work on a film set, I'm like, all right. So right. It's just whatever. But
well, there's we're recording this late at night on a Friday after a long week, but we like doing this, and so you might be tired, you might be worn out, you might be like, I need a break. But like you said, if someone calls you up and says, hey, you want to work on a film project, you're like, hell yeah, I'm going to do that.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Because that's what you like to do. So
yeah, and same thing with this. I mean, I felt like, I don't know, I've just felt really bad that it's been so long. And I'm sure people think that we just stopped doing it.
Yeah, what's funny is, so Not a Cast has started a Slack for, certain Patreons over a certain amount. And I think it's Sir Keith J. He messaged me on there. He and I've got to know each other on the Slack, and he messaged me and was like, I'm catching up on Not a Cast, but I'm catching up on Planetos, and I just want to say I love it. You guys are great. I'm going through your Game of Thrones episodes, and I was like, oh my God, you're going to catch up before we get back to recording.
Slow down.
And he's like, no. He's like, I understand. I completely understand, man. That's got to be a lot of work and everything. And it is. And I think part of it is when we hit the show so hard, which was a lot of fun, had some great guests, great episodes, and we were just worn out from that. And we, did a few good episodes over the summer, but again, just things got in the way. But we're back, and like Brett said, we're going to try and get back into a rhythm here that works for us going forward.
Yeah, I think what's really helping me is just the. Well, my brother is he's almost finished with Feast for Crows now. He's been listening to the audiobook. So he's been talking to me a lot about it.
Nice.
And then he's asking me questions, and I'm like, I forget. Like, I need to. So I'm about to go back through them because it's just, I have A Song of Ice and Fire has just been shut off for me lately. And I think it's just due to I'm working at home now. So instead of listening to podcasts, I watch movies.
Yeah.
And so, like, I mean, I've watched so many movies the past few months. But that's going to change. I think I'm going to make it. I'm getting back into I'm trying to be more active. So I'm working out again and going out and doing, running. And I've been playing some tennis with my brother. So I've been listening to podcasts a little more instead of just when I drive. So
yeah.
So
our dog had knee surgery over the summer, and so one of the she's fine. She tore her ACL, and she likes to. Well, she doesn't do this anymore, but she liked to chase me while I mowed the lawn, and she just twisted a certain way and snapped this ACL. And so one of the conditions is she can't jump up on things, she can't run around, but they want you to walk her. So, a couple weeks after her surgery, when it was okay to do this, I started walking her in the evening. So I've been doing that as well, and, trying to lose a little bit of weight and stuff, but driving and walking in the evening, that's my time to listen to podcasts now. So
I actually so this is how long it's been since we've talked. I mean, because I went to Dragon Con for a day. I didn't think I was going to be able to. I thought I was going to be too busy. And then I just had a free day. I had the money to buy a one-day ticket, and I was like, okay, let's go. And I went with a friend. Didn't see anybody I knew. I didn't run into any of the Game of Thrones people, but I didn't want to I tried to go see, I think her name's Tara Lynn, which I'm pretty sure she was at Ice and Fire Con, right?
She's one of the main organizers of Ice and Fire Con.
She was doing a panel, and I tried to get into it, and I underestimated it. Well, I didn't underestimate it, but I thought it would be in a bigger room than it was, but it was in this tiny room. Because to get into these panels, you have to be there like an hour early and get in line just to make it into the room. So if you're 30 minutes,
right,
and it's going to be, but I was like, well, it's a Game of Thrones one, and
it's like, surely there won't be a huge line for that since it's over.
Yeah, and then we get there, the room's already packed. It's a tiny room, so of course it just gets filled up instantly.
Right,
and I'm talking to my friend. I'm like, I bet everyone I know from the Game of Thrones community is in that room, and I cannot get in to say hi. So that was disappointing. But the one bad part about that night, like that was really bad, is I lost. Like, I could not figure out where I parked my car. So and then my phone died. So I spent about like 2 hours just walking. I probably walked like 100 blocks around it, like just around this certain part of Atlanta, just because all these public parking places look the same. And it turns out, like, I was walking past my car the whole time. It basically got dark, and I just didn't recognize the parking lot. And I'm like, I swear I must have walked 100 blocks that night. Like, not like just in a radius, going back and forth, it was awful. But I made it out alive.
Wow. So. Yeah, I saw from like Twitter and Facebook a bunch of people that were that we know that were at Dragon Con. So it's unfortunate to get to see him, but I've never been to that, but I hear it's just massive. I mean, it's just so many people, and
it is. It's if you don't know what to look for, the less fun you're gonna have. Really, I went unprepared. I didn't check up on anything. Now, I did go to a sword fighting fencing competition,
Nice.
which was really cool. They did a few different kinds of swords. And then I forget what else I did. I mean, it was a lot of just being stuck in line for me, really.
Yeah.
But
yeah, cool. Well,
yeah,
that sounds pretty awesome. I've spent most of my past few weeks just kind of reading. I've started the His Dark Materials books because Girls Gone Canon is going through those, and HBO is getting ready to drop their show on that.
nice.
Everybody kind of knows the first book is The Golden Compass, so I'm kind of excited for that story. Yeah, so I'm not that far into the first book. It's good. It's a lot of setup though, and it's just with like everything I read. Like I just want it to be a Song of Ice and Fire, and it's not. That's not a diss at The Golden Compass. It's a great book thus far, but my mind just wanders and it just goes off into something else. And Lindsay and I have been catching up on a bunch of TV shows that we just haven't had the chance to watch. And I don't know if you've seen Sharp Objects, but it's a really, really good show. And I didn't watch it last summer because I thought it was going to be very surreal and cerebral, and it's sort of like that, but it's about a journalist who goes back to her hometown where she experienced a lot of trauma and abuse, and is investigating this string of murders. And it's kind of like what you would term like a Southern Gothic, set like in the southeastern corner of Missouri, so kind of like right on the Kentucky, Tennessee, Arkansas border.
Yeah,
it's with Amy Adams, so it's pretty good.
I might have to check that out.
It's just and it's just 8 episodes. That's it. Like there's no second season or anything like that. So it's I was really surprised at how good it was.
Yeah, I just started watching the Righteous Gemstones.
I want to watch that. Yeah.
It's pretty good. It's just really like it's the episodes are linear, but it's kind of each episode has its own different problem they're dealing with. Like some of it comes back, but it's like it doesn't really seem like an arcing story. It's just following the family, and they're like 30 minutes. The pilot's like an hour, and then the ones after that are like 30 minutes. But so far I'm really enjoying that. And then I finished Glow, and
okay.
God, I love that show. I'm sad that I'm finished with it. I love that show.
Yeah, I wanted to watch that at some point, and this was actually last year, and Lindsay was like, I don't really want to watch this. But I watched the first episode of the first season, and I was like, oh, this would be something I would like. But I just haven't had time to go back and watch it. Yeah. So I'll have to check that out sometime.
Yeah, I was surprised because, like, me and my sister don't really like a lot of the same stuff. And she asked me if I had watched Glow before, and I'm like, a couple years ago, I watched, like, half of the first season, loved it, but I watched it all in one night, so I just never went back and finished the season because I just binged it one night, and I was like, you like that show? Like, just doesn't seem and so anyways, it sparked my interest, so I went back through it, and that show's awesome. Like
Cool. We're watching Fleabag right now. So it just cleaned up at the Emmys in comedy, and I've been wanting to watch it for a while, but Lindsay was like, I don't even know what that means, Fleabag. What does that mean? But it's a British comedian. Her name's Phoebe Waller-Bridge, and she was actually the voice of L3 in the Solo movie. Okay. But this show is about her life in London. Not her life, but her character's life. It's really, really funny, but it's also kind of dark and sad. Like there are some, like with most British shows, there's only a few episodes per season. So there's only like 6 episodes per season, and they're all like 20, 25 minutes long. So, you can get through an entire season in 2 hours, 3 hours.
Oh, okay.
But I was talking to Clint, at Laws of Ice and Fire, or Laws of Westeros, whatever his Twitter handle is. But he was like, "Oh, you have to watch this. You have to watch this. This is so good." I was like, "Oh, I want to watch it." So I finally, after it won all the Emmys, Lindsay was like, "Okay, maybe we can watch that to see what that's about." And it's pretty fucking funny. It's dark. It's twisted. It's very graphic at times. Not too graphic, I shouldn't say. But there's kind of a pathos to it. Like it's kind of sad. Like when you find out why this main character does some of the things she does, because she's kind of hurting. But it's on Amazon, so if you ever get a chance, check it out. It's pretty funny. It's got that dry British humor as well. Okay. And Olivia Colman's in it, who is fucking hilarious. I don't know if you saw that movie, The Favorite. She plays. Is it Queen Anne? Yeah, Queen Anne. It's pretty funny. So, yeah, so I would recommend that, Fleabag.
All right.
And obviously, I think we're all excited for Star Wars. I've just got to figure out if Disney Plus is going to be available on Amazon Fire Stick, and I don't think it is, because I would have thought they would have announced it by now. So I'm probably going to have to get another fucking streaming service or streaming system, because I've got to watch The Mandalorian. Like,
do you have
got to see that?
Do you have what's it called? Yeah, and The Mandalorian. Yeah, I definitely.
Pedro that's gonna be
Pascal,
awesome.
I mean,
oh yeah, that's gonna be so good.
What? Oh, Chromecast. You don't have Chromecast?
No, we don't. That's probably what I'm going to do. So, like, my TV down here where I record is what I like to watch those type of shows on. Like, it was what I watch Game of Thrones on. It's it's the biggest screen. It's got the best UHD, all that stuff. But it has those built-in apps. So perhaps Disney Plus will be available in there. But for some reason, the internet connection from the TV to the router just is a little slow, and so sometimes it will take a little bit to download a show.
Yeah,
so the Fire Stick works really well down here. So I'm thinking about like just getting a Roku or a Chromecast for down here and trying that system out down here.
Yeah,
so,
yeah,
because I do know it's going to be available on Chromecast, so at least that's a guarantee.
Yeah, honestly, I really don't know how the Chromecast works, but
my brother-in-law has it, and
I have it. Yeah,
yeah, and I mean, he takes it. I don't know if you need to take something, but he takes it with him when we go on vacation, and that's what we watch movies and TV from.
Yeah, it looks. I mean, mine's it looks like a little thumb drive that you.
Yeah, and that's the same thing with the Fire Stick.
Oh, okay.
So yeah.
Yeah, it just doesn't have. It's weird though, because it seems like the other stuff that has an app that you have to. I don't know how the Fire Stick works. I don't know why we're even talking about this, but
yeah, I'm not sure.
But,
so yeah, obviously, and then episode 9, which those trailers look fucking amazing.
Yep.
I'm trying. I know I'll watch the trailers, but I'm trying to just avoid everything else.
Yeah, well, I'm not, because I really wanted to figure out what Palpatine's role is in this movie. And
did you read something?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Right, so I know a little bit about. They gave a little bit of some information to. I would say it's almost spoilery, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Not really. I mean,
is it cool? Like, does it sound cool? Like how they're okay. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. As long as it's kind of cool.
Yeah. No. I mean, yeah. I think I'm just glad he's back in the universe. I loved him as a
Love
villain.
Palpatine. He's he's an awesome villain. Yes.
I don't know where I heard this from, but I think it was from like one of the like actors of like in Star Wars where they were talking about how what's his I've always there's so many English Ian's actors.
Oh, Ian
actors.
McDiarmid.
Yeah, okay.
Ian McDiarmid. Yeah.
Yeah, you got Ian. God, I don't know. There's like four or five of them, but someone said they just loved watching him play Palpatine because he had so much fun with it on set. Like he just like. And you could kind of see it in his performance where he just loves being evil. Like it's there's a passion there, and like it makes him happy. Like he's not like a bitter evil guy. He's very happy about it. So
yeah, I mean, the Emperor is pure evil, but he's the kind of pure evil that just enjoys being evil. Like some evil characters, like they don't really like themselves. They don't like what they're just like Sauron. Like, what is Sauron? Like, he's just this big, menacing, terrible creature being that's just full of hate and whatever. Like, Palpatine's like, I'm going to fuck with these people. I'm going to blow their planet up. I'm going to, pit my apprentice, Darth Vader, against his son, and I'm going to sit here and laugh about it. Like that. He just fucking enjoys it.
Yeah. I mean, think about Thanos, compare.
Yes.
Very serious, very like, well, and most of the main baddies are like that, but I mean, Palpatine he just loves being evil, and that's like, it's kind of like the older style villain where their only motivation is evil, like, which is it's not as complex, but it's still very enjoyable to see.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. When you have an actor like that who relishes the role and just gives a remarkable performance, absolutely. Like I'm just excited to see that dynamic between him and probably Kylo Ren and Rey. And
yeah, I can't wait for that.
It'd be I just wonder, like, is like Force Luke going to be like involved in that too? Like I'm just like, oh, I'm so giddy because just all that shit.
See, okay, some speculation here. I mean,
okay, all right, that's fine. I can go for a little speculation.
Not too much because I don't know, but
yeah.
But okay, so because you have J.J. Abrams basically he played it safe, mimicked A New Hope,
right,
in The Force Awakens. Then you have the Rian Johnson movie, which I've just heard that people that are big fans of Rian Johnson say it didn't feel like a Rian Johnson movie. So I don't know. And then, people were mad at him for it. People were mad at Kathleen Kennedy for it. All that mess. But then the news comes out, which I don't know if I really buy this, but JJ said they didn't really deviate from his original script for The Last Jedi all that much. Like, he's come out and said that publicly. So I don't know if that's just, I don't know, but I just thought that was interesting. And then I think he probably just pulled the trigger in bringing the Emperor back because Snoke's gone now, and like, whatnot, like bring him back. I think there might be something with Luke maybe coming back too.
Yeah.
Especially in light of Carrie Fisher's death since then, and I don't know. I don't know. Billy D. Williams is going to be in.
Oh yeah, Lando's going to be in it. Yeah, I think one of the interesting things about Episode 9, and we swear we're not a Star Wars podcast. This happens to us a little bit.
This is our catch-up episode, and this is stuff
catch-up
we actually would love to talk about, but we just, we don't.
The most interesting thing to me about Episode 9, besides that, I'm just interested to like watch it and
Yeah.
be amazed by what they do and everything. But is how it's going to tie all the other episodes together, because JJ said, my goal with episode 9 was to conclude the Skywalker saga, and that means elements from the prequels, elements from the original, and elements from the sequel. So I expect Anakin to be in this, probably Darth Vader and Anakin Skywalker in some capacity. You've got Luke. Cool. You've got them reusing actual footage that they didn't use in The Force Awakens to have Leia in there. I wouldn't be surprised if Han Solo in some capacity is either mentioned or appears. I don't know how he would appear. I don't know if Harrison Ford would do that. It looks like they've added more role for 3PO and R2, which they should. Like that's a hallmark of each episode and kind of has been lacking this sequel trilogy. And then, if this is Anakin's story, if you think about it, his influence not only as Vader, but his heirs, if you will, then you've got to have Palpatine, who's arguably the architect of most of it,
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. I mean, he's got to come back in some capacity. So it's going to be really cool to see how they do that.
I just, I don't see how they're going to finish this saga in one more movie. I just don't like. And half of me is wondering if they're gonna make it a 2-parter. But I mean, we haven't heard that, so I'm assuming not. But I wouldn't be surprised if it was all of a sudden a 2-parter thing. When
I definitely think it's going to be over 2.5 hours long.
Oh yeah,
I want to say the longest, maybe The Last Jedi became the longest Star Wars film. Might be Attack the Clones is like 2 hours and 20 some minutes. I say go for like 2 hours and 45, 2 hours and 50. I mean, the Lord of the Rings movies were easily that.
Yeah.
Avengers was easily that. Or Endgame and Infinity War. So just do it.
Yeah,
Give us a bunch of content.
I don't mind. I don't mind that long.
But I still see your point that like even if it's 2 hours and 45 minutes, there's still a lot of content you got to fit.
That's what I'm saying is like the way the last one ended, like it's just it feels like the ending of episode 1 or like not episode 1, but like it feels like the ending of a first part of a trilogy, and this is 2 movies in, and so I'm like, wow,
yes, you're right.
That's stuff.
Yeah, I can see that, and that's one criticism I can sort of understand from people that The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi are kind of like one large act of a 3-act play. I can see that. Yeah.
Yeah, it seemed, and that's not even me criticizing it. I'm just
saying, not at all. Yeah,
I'm just saying like, man, they're gonna have to put this next movie's is gonna be long. I mean, it has to be if you're gonna answer all these questions. I mean, like we still don't know that much about this world or this universe 30 years or this galaxy 30 years later. Like. Right. In the timeline, like we've been very, I don't know, like in a we've been looking through a very small lens into this galaxy where the other ones kind of felt a lot bigger. So, I think that might be why I feel that way. But maybe it's maybe it's supposed to be this little condensed story, and which is fine. That's not a complaint.
Yeah, I'm going to say that it takes a larger perspective in this next one. That would be my guess. All right, one more movie that I want to talk about, and then I want to talk about some of this prequel news. Back to Game of Thrones, obviously.
Yes.
Have you seen the trailer for Doctor Sleep?
No.
Oh. You've seen The Shining, right?
Man.
Oh, come on, man. What the hell?
All right, I'll put it on my list and I'll watch it.
All right, you got to watch The Shining.
Okay.
And you got to watch this trailer for Doctor Sleep. So speaking of Star Wars, Ewan McGregor is starring in this movie, and it looks so. I think it would have more impact if you had seen The Shining and you were a fan of The Shining. Like,
okay,
The Shining was a Stephen King novel, and it was a Stanley Kubrick film.
So I've seen The Shining. It's just I watched it as a kid, so I don't remember anything about it. So
you got to go back and you got to watch it, and you got to check out this trailer for Doctor Sleep, because Doctor Sleep is the sequel to The Shining. So this is the story that Stephen King wrote as a sequel to the book The Shining. Now, famously, Stephen King likes The Shining, the film. He thinks it's a great Kubrick film. He does not believe that it is true to the characters from his book. And just real quickly, Jack Nicholson plays Jack Torrance in The Shining. And Jack Nicholson, he can play disturbed and demented very easily. So people's complaint about the difference between the book and the movie is that Jack Torrance in the movie already seems like he's psychotic, whereas in the book, the hotel sort of manipulates him more into this. So that's one of the things that King didn't like. Another thing that King didn't like, the character of the mother, Wendy Torrance, who is a very strong female character in the book. And Kubrick made her very weak in the film. So all of that as background to tell you that this movie, Doctor Sleep, again, based on the book Doctor Sleep by Stephen King, is pulling so much from the movie The Shining. It's using the theme music in the trailer. It's using the look of the Overlook Hotel, which is the location.
Okay.
It's using images and scenes from The Shining. I don't know if that's just promotional or it's actually in the film. So my interest in it, in knowing all that background, is, did King say, look, if you're going to make this movie adaptation, or was he asked, look, we're going to make this movie adaptation, we got to be able, people love the fucking Shining movie. So we got to be able to use that as a basis whilst trying to stay true to your book. So that's what, beyond it just being looks like a really good story, a really good movie. I'm interested in, King didn't like the film, but this sequel is using so much of that original film. So I'm so curious about how they tie it all together.
I'm sure that's definitely intentional. It makes sense that they would intentionally do that to do a more faithful adaptation of something, but then use the elements that make you more familiar with the original thing. So now I want to go back and watch The Shining, and then
and you're entering the perfect time of the year to watch The Shining.
Yes,
we're closing in on Halloween in just a few weeks. So, we're going to have another Halloween episode. We just gotta figure out what we're gonna do there.
So I've been preparing. I've already watched Beetlejuice and both of the Addams families. So probably going to rewatch those as soon as October hits.
Yeah, I always watch The Shining and The Exorcist and of course the Halloween movies.
Yeah.
There was
Three from
one.
Hell is going to be out, or it's already out, I think.
What is it?
3 from Hell.
I don't know what that is. What is that?
It's the third act to House of a Thousand Corpses and Devil's Rejects.
All right.
Yeah.
Nice.
And of course, Sid Wilson just passed away a few days ago, and rest in peace. And I think, I was going to say the Chewbacca actor has passed away.
He has, yeah.
And I feel bad because I'm not using his name.
Peter Mayhew.
Okay. Yep. But yeah, that's all happened since we've been on our hiatus.
Yeah, really. Well, let's talk a little bit about some of the news that's coming out about the successor shows, because it's really interesting. So, the Long Night show, which is, I guess its working title is Blood Moon.
Yep.
That pilot has filmed. It's, I guess, in post-production. It's being, watched by HBO and George R. R. Martin right now.
That's hopefully really interesting. I didn't know they filmed the pilot. All right.
Yeah, it's done.
I knew it was in production, so I guess I should have.
Yeah, the pilot, I guess, I want to say started filming sometime in the spring and finished sometime over the summer. So it's we should know. I would say after the first of the year, we'll know. Okay, was it picked up, and how many episodes will be the first season, et cetera, which I assume they'll go with another 10 episode first season.
Yeah.
But the other interesting news is that we have a second pilot that has been ordered.
Yes.
And this seems to be, whether it's going to be called Fire and Blood or Aegon's Conquest or The Dance to the Dragons or whatever, this is set more in the Targaryen era of Westeros, and it's being developed by Martin himself and Colony co-creator Ryan Condal. And I wanted to look up some of Condal's other stuff because I think that what's interesting to me is that he is he definitely has a sci-fi background. He's got some. He wrote the 2014 movie Hercules, starring The Rock,
which I like that movie.
Okay, nice. I may have seen it. I'm not sure that I have.
It's where The Rock is he's Hercules, but basically he's a con man. Like, he sets up these scenarios.
I have.
Yeah.
Yes. I have seen that. Yes. Yep.
Yeah. So he is Hercules, but basically, they just set up these scenarios and then, yeah.
Yeah.
Or is that what it was? That's what it was, right? I can't remember now. Because I feel like he cut the head off a dragon or something and brought it. And it was a man dressed as a dragon. So he may not be a con man, but the legend, whatever. Anyways, continue. It's been a long time since I've watched that, but
yeah. And then he wrote Colony, which I actually watched a few episodes of. I think it was a show on USA, and basically the premise was that this mysterious alien race invades and kind of takes over, and Josh Holloway, who is Sawyer from Lost, was the lead actor, and I want to say he worked for like a government police agency, which was either in league with the aliens or were like part of the bureaucracy that the aliens have. Anyways, I don't remember much of it, but it was a fairly interesting concept. So anyways, that's the guy who's helping Martin develop it. And what's interesting is there's some people saying that this may be kind of the leftover concept of that Brian Cogman was developing before he left and went to Amazon to work on the Lord of the Rings show. So, there may be all this stuff that Cogman already developed with George, and this guy has kind of stepped in to help out or provide his own guidance or whatever. But I just think it's so interesting because, depending on the time period that they choose to start, and I think a lot of people think it's going to be the Dance of the Dragons, but I bet you they start I bet you it's, and actually someone said, I think it was Manu, if anybody out there follows Manu on Twitter, who's been on Nauticast and other things, but he was saying that, he wonders if what they'll do is they'll kind of start off with the doom of Valyria, but what they'll do is for TV, they'll constrict the timeline. So the doom doesn't happen 140 years before Aegon's conquest. It happens a few years, and then it shows the Targaryens migrating to Dragonstone, and then they decide to take over Westeros. So that you kind of get something right in the beginning that kind of hooks you, and then you over the course of the rest of the season, you kind of build up the Targaryens on Dragonstone and the Starks in the north and all this stuff, and kind of then piece all these together and kind of end with season 1 being maybe when they land and begin to try and conquer Westeros, which could be a very interesting concept.
That makes more sense for TV. Yes. It really does. I like it. I could see how they maybe just show the doom of Valyria, and then 140 years later, that all happens. I could see that. I could see it either way, but yeah, I definitely think it flows better if the family's there, leaves right before it happens, and then that family, Aegon's there, was in Valyria, and then just for a TV type thing,
or even Aegon, even if they make him a child, I can almost see a scene of a young Aegon and his sisters fleeing Valyria, their ships trying to sail away, and there are just dragons flying left and right trying to escape, and that's kind of what you open on. And then you kind of get this slow roll of the next few episodes, just kind of introducing you to all these people and setting up.
If you don't do that, because the way George R. R. Martin starts off a Game of Thrones, he basically avoids the epilogue, and then basically if you did that with Aegon's conquest, it's kind of like an epilogue. You can, or not an epilogue,
prologue.
It's kind of like a big long prologue. And or an info dump, not a prologue, info dump.
Right. It's how Lord of the Rings starts. It's how Fellowship of the Ring started. So you could definitely do that, and it would work if done right.
Yeah.
So I think that's really cool. I think that everyone's got all these guesses about the Long Night, and I think a lot of people are kind of I don't really want to see the White Walkers. After what happened in the show, whether
I can
agree or disagree with what happened in the show, people are kind of hey, okay, are they really a threat when they were? I won't say they were easily defeated in the show, but because the episode numbers were so constricted that they had to finish them quickly and move on. So people are kind of okay, well, what does this mean? But I am not more interested in the Long Night than the Targaryen era one, but I'm very interested in what are we going to find out in that Long Night prequel that we don't already know.
There's been hints at that too.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And what's great about it is if you kind of think about this as this is where now it's kind of scary. This is where a really creative writer could have a lot of fun. They could come up with, George has kind of set out this legend of that time period. So if the writer says to George, okay, what is real and what is not real? And George is like, well, this is kind of shades of truth here, but this was fake and whatever. So a really talented writer is needed for that long night show to be able to create a story. I mean, you got to think, you got to create characters, you got to create, I mean, you've got these few characters you could use, even if they existed in the same time period. Like you got to confirm all that with George and stuff. And that's what I think is fascinating, that what's the story there? I mean, the Targaryen era one, yes, I want to see it, but we know the story from Fire and Blood. Like no matter where they start, unless they start a little later, which I don't think they will. I think that's a mistake if they start later, in my opinion. But we know the story from Fire and Blood, but we knew the story from Game of Thrones. So it's exciting to see that put to screen. Yeah. But The Long Night, that's going to be so original. Yeah, there's going to be things and characters and places that we have known and we have been to before, but we're going to see them in a fresh light. We're going to see them thousands of years ago. I think George was saying this, that there weren't 7 kingdoms thousands of years. There were 100 kingdoms. So you're going to have all these, small battles and who, is the wall there? I don't know. It's just really fascinating to think about that. So again, I'm not more excited for one than the other, but I'm excited for both in different ways.
So it's cool that just a small sidetrack. But it goes along with this. So my one of my instructors, who I've worked on a couple of his one of his personal projects, and he's recommended me. Like, he keeps recommending me to people. That's why I've been really busy. But he has a world that he's built. Like, he's got this huge outline of like all these events that happened in history, and basically, once we worked on a short that another one of our instructors wrote a script for, and we filmed that, and I got to help on that. And I'm currently writing a script for that, and it may not be shot for a while because the way it's going, I can't write a short. It's a full story, so it's probably going to be feature length. But basically what he does is he's like, these are the rules to my world. These are the events that I want to tell. But you're welcome to help me world build, as long as it doesn't interfere with any of my rules that I've set or anything like that. And it's been really cool because he's got like 5 or 6 different people all making stories in this world he's thought up and like put on paper. So I mean, it's kind of like that. I mean, yeah, but it's just really cool. It's actually really cool to jump into someone else's world that they want and write your own original thing just with rules they set up, because then you're kind of limited, but you're kind of like, okay, it kind of directs you a little bit more when creating.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to sit down and come up with everything. Yeah, I mean, obviously people do that, and people do it really well, but that's a big barrier. And so if you can sit down and someone has said, here are the rules, here are the few characters, here are a few events, here are the things that I've set up, don't interfere with it, but also use it if you want to, make reference to it, all these type of things. Like, yeah, I think that would be really helpful as a writer to kind of have some parameters, some guardrails for you to be like, okay, I can't go out of this box, but I can, I've got a path before me if I want to use it.
Which I can, if you want to look at some of his ideas, I can ask him and let him know, and just so you could read through the outline and see if you want to create something in it.
Yeah, I'd love to look at it. Yeah,
because this is, I mean, if you make it like if you do a screenplay, and you make it, it's a short, and we could film it. It'll be filmed. You know, as soon as possible. But I can ask him. He made me sign a whatever it is where I can't
NDA.
talk. Yeah, NDA. So if you look at it, you'll have to. He'll probably send you one beforehand.
Yeah.
But so I can't talk about it on here.
Sure.
Go into details, too much details. But because they're doing a whole website where they're gonna do like comics, and he's bringing in a bunch of different people to just build this world, it's really cool. I mean, I like the concept. It's very X-Men-ish, I would say. He's a big X-Men fan, so it kind of is sort of a little bit like that. But anyways, sidetracked again.
Cool.
I will definitely ask him, and
yeah. I mean, I'd love, like, if he's willing to share that.
Because I know you write, so I'm curious to see if you'd be interested in writing.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
Actually, speaking of writing, I'm probably in the next couple weeks. I'm going to have the first part of a new essay done. Well, actually, one of my first essays. I've written a fanfic, but in Game of Thrones. But this will be my first A Song of Ice and Fire essay, and it's on mentors, and it's specifically, I'm going to try and focus on the father figures of Jon Snow.
Okay.
Yeah. So actually, Jeff Beefish is taking a look at the first part right now, giving me some. Yeah, good man. We have to say that we're contractually obligated. We're not. He is a good guy. He's just a butthole on Twitter. But that's the persona he likes to use on Twitter. No, he's given me a lot of good feedback thus far. I was actually, before we started recording, I was looking through some of the comments and thinking about, what he was saying and what I needed to kind of punch up a little bit, and some quotes that I needed to find. But it's really interesting. Like, so not to give anything away, and hopefully I can get this out in the next couple of weeks. I'm very close. Like, I've just got one section that I really need to double down and work on, but I'm entitling it the hero with 1,000 fathers. And so the premise is, if you've ever heard of the hero with 1,000 faces, which is Joseph Campbell was a professor and a historian, and his premise was that of the hero's journey, the monomyth. So all of these, so it's two parts. Like, one, there is an archetype for the hero's journey. So if you think of like Star Wars, Luke Skywalker, like, adventure falls into his lap. He tries to resist it. A mentor comes along. He goes on an adventure. Mm-hmm. He's transformed in a way. He overcomes these obstacles. He comes home. So that's like kind of the very basic outline of the hero's journey, or the monomyth. Then the second part of Campbell's thesis is that all of these cultures on Earth have some of these shared story archetypes. So the Greeks, the Chinese, the Romans, the ancient British, Native American, like, a lot of their legends have some of these basic structures in common. So the hero's journey, the monomyth, also refers to, there's one myth. There's, that mono being one.
Yeah.
One myth that kind of, for some reason, humans are drawn to. So anyways, I actually started thinking about this essay months and months and months ago. And I was talking to our friends Frank, and Grant, aka Heathen King, and we were just kind of chatting back and forth on Twitter. And I'm going to give credit to one of them. I just can't remember who, but I think it was Frank. Someone said Grant was talking about all of Jon Snow's father figures, and we were chatting about it. And Frank said something like the hero with 1,000 daddies. And I was like, oh, that's a really cool. I was like, but the hero with 1,000 fathers. And they're like, oh, that's a really cool title. So I went and like wrote it down and kind of fleshed out some ideas. And in talking with Jeff, my initial draft of my essay was all of these father figures, and I don't want to give away who all I have because I decided to split them up. Jeff was like, you've got like a 5-part series here. Like, you don't need to put everything into one essay. It will be way too much. You'll get it done, but it will take forever. Like, why don't you roll it out?
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm pretty excited. I'm hoping to get that done in the next 2 weeks.
That sounds super interesting.
Yeah. I'll send you. I'll share a copy of it with you.
Yes. Whenever you get done, just let me know and I'll take a look at it. And
yeah.
But yeah.
I mean, John's a really, some people think, oh, he's boring. I've come to realize he's like Danny. He's one of the more fascinating characters because he's so central to the end game, obviously, based on the show and what we know, but he struggles. Like he struggles with these kind of dark impulses. He struggles with trying to find his place. He doesn't think he's anything. He doesn't think he's important.
Yeah.
And then he gets all of these events that are kind of thrown his way, and he seems to overcome all of them except for the last one where he gets stabbed.
I like him. I mean, I can't wait to see the next part of Jon Snow. Like, is he gonna come back?
Right.
Like with the wolf's blood just running through his veins, and he's gonna have like this new angrier personality. Like, is that gonna happen? Because in that case, he's no longer and just being in his mind. I mean, his struggles. Like, I did say he was a flat he had a flat character arc, but at the same time, it's still not exactly a flat character arc because you kind of see the motive. He still doesn't really ever change though, so I guess it is still a flat character arc. But if he comes back and he's a completely different personality, that flat character arc is out the window with that.
Right. And what I think's interesting about it, if he comes back in a rage, as we know, people who are resurrected come back, focusing on like the last thing. Like if you think of like Lady Stoneheart and everything. So what I'm interested in is if he comes back in this rage, what changes him again? Because, this rage and this anger exists in Jon 1 of Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
He's angry at his status in life. He loves his family. He loves his brothers and sisters. He loves his father, Ned Stark. But he wants to get the fuck away from Winterfell and from them because he knows I'm not going to ever be anything. So that's why he wants to go to the Night's Watch. Well, then when he gets there, he realizes what that world is.
Yeah.
And he's really mean to his fellow recruits there until his eyes are kind of open. So, again, Jon fights with these darker impulses. He's Maester Mary calls him a Byronic character, and that's a derivative of Lord Byron's writing back in the 17 and 1800s, where you have this really romantic, alluring character who's tortured and miserable and moody and rebellious and arrogant and prideful and all these things. but you're still drawn to them, you know, and they're still able to be affectionate and romantic and everything. And, you know, you think about it, like that's Jon Snow. Like,
yeah.
he's, you know, he's purposely made that way for some reason.
He's flawed. I mean, I think, you know, and he's a teenager. I think it's very
yes.
easy to forget because of the TV show, but he's a teenager, and God, I think if you weren't arrogant as a teenager, were you even ever a teenager? I mean,
Right.
I thought I knew everything there is to know about the world when I was a teenager, you know, and I'm sure that's not, you know, I'm pretty sure that's common for
Absolutely. Like, yeah, teenagers think they know it all.
yeah, and then, you know, yeah, and then you get into the real world and you're like, oh, you know, okay, I didn't know anything.
Yep.
But think something else that's interesting though, with if I'm pretty sure I talked about this, where, you know, if Ghost, he goes into Ghost body, their minds kind of melt together, then they switch over back into Jon Snow's body again with his resurrection. He's going to have literally a wolf inside of him. But at the same time, if it's like Rattleshirt's, was it a prologue? It was a prologue, right? Or was it an epilogue? The one through, not Rattleshirt. Varamir.
Prologue.
It was a prologue. Okay.
Yep.
Dance of Dragons, right?
Yep.
So, yeah, the way he kind of described where, like, after a while, the human side, once you go into the animal for your second life, after a while, the human side fades. I feel like it'd be flip-flopped if Ghost comes back with him into Jon's body. After a while, Ghost's personality fades and the rage is kind of, subdued.
Right.
After a while. And maybe quicker because humans live a lot longer than wolves. So it could be a significantly shorter, pretty much, that he's in that, like, really, and it could be very ambiguous too, because that's how George likes to do. Like, he could just come back and be in a full rage, and he leaves it open-ended as to why. I mean, well, we know why, but, like, he may go too far, you know?
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I would say he's going to spend some time in Ghost, only because, you know, I don't think it's going to be like the show where he's killed and then 2 episodes later he's resurrected.
Yeah, no.
But he's going to come back at some point in the Winds of Winter, and it's just trying to figure out, like, what he comes back for immediately. Like, that's one of the things that, like, the North is just so, I just don't know what's going to happen. Like, I think I know what's going to happen with the Battle of Ice, but after that,
man, yeah,
I'm like, what happens with the Boltons of Winterfell? You know, the show has me confused on, does Ramsay Bolton survive, or did the show just make him a bigger character because he was, you know, the actor was so good in that role? You know, I don't know. I just don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know either. I'm kind of done guessing. I have some pretty good ideas of, you know, well, not me personally, but just that I've heard that I'm just sticking to, because I think it's going to happen, but we don't know. It's just, you know, the fact that, like, you know, Cersei's going to run to, you know, Fagon's going to take over King's Landing. Cersei's going to abandon it, run to King's Landing. I think possibly
Casterly Rock.
Casterly Rock. And I think at some point Dany's going to come back over. She might dispatch Tyrion to take Casterly Rock, and he might be the person that does that. And it makes sense because he's perfectly set up to. And And then while he's doing that, Danny's attacking King's Landing. I don't know where that puts Jamie, though. So, yeah, it's just like little stuff like that. It's like, oh, wait, that doesn't fit for the show. Like,
right.
Where's Jamie at in this situation?
Right.
Because it would seem like Jamie might be headed north after, if he and Brienne survive that, it seems like they'll head north once that news gets out about, you know, the Starks being back at Winterfell, because I assume that's gonna bring them both north. I think something's gonna happen, and then I just don't know. There's too many factors. Stannis is still alive. We don't know what the Vel is gonna do.
Right.
They're gonna do something, and we're pretty sure they're going north, but we don't know how or when.
Right.
Yeah.
Do they right? Do they go straight north, or do they go through the river? I mean, it's just, who knows? There's so much.
Yeah. No, and I'm just
so ready for it to come out, and
I'm almost wanting, like, George, just like release the first half of your book.
Yeah.
Man. The first half has to be crystal.
I would think.
And
I would think.
I think it. I mean, yet again, I think it's all done. It's just him cleaning up and.
Yeah, I think he's editing and trying to get it to fit. Which
we've said this so many times. So.
Oh my God!
I'm just done. I think
therapy for it.
Yeah. It is. I feel really bad because every time he makes an announcement, I'm like, oh shit, is it wins a winner? And then I read it and it's not. Like the announcement of this second TV show pilot almost tricked me. Like, it tricked me at first, because I like read it, like I started to read it, I'm like, oh my God, he announced wins the winner, and then I read it and it's like, nope. And it does suck, but like, still I don't think he deserves the comments he gets, but
no, he doesn't at all.
It is like,
it's just us talking there for 5 minutes. It's fucking complicated. Mm-hmm. And he has so many characters, he has so many events, he has so many locations. I think part of his purpose in wanting to only do 2 more books, part of his holdup is just trying to get this one just right to where it ends for setting up a Dream of Spring. Because, in his mind, there was material, and it's happened with every book. If you look at some of the comments he's made, but he writes so much material that things go from one book to the next. Mm-hmm. So specifically with the Dance with Dragons, the Battle of Ice and the Battle of Fire, he couldn't fit it into the book. So he said, okay, well, I'm going to start the Winds of Winter with that. So right there, you start off with all of these chapters and all of these events.
Yeah.
And so, if he's like, all right, look, I've got to get this done in 7 books. So I have either got to kill off characters or change events or cut things down so much that I've got to get, everything into this one book.
So, yeah, I think I think I understand the way he writes, because it's kind of the way I do it, is like I'll have this, and this is why I never finish a story, because I have like this little simple story, and it's all just in a little bubble.
Yep.
And then I'm writing, and I'm like, oh, it'd be cooler if they did this. And so then I do that, and then it starts snowballing, and then next thing you know, like I sent you like a little, like, I was just writing one night, but it was for this story I want to write, and it's supposed to be contained, and then since then it's snowballed. Like I have so
Right.
many ideas of the world and what I want it to be. And I'm like, I just want to write a simple story so I can finish it. And like that's the goal, but then I like fall in love with like the idea of the world that it's in, and I'm like, I
Yeah.
want to expand on it.
Yeah.
So that's why I never finish crap that I write
My
on or write for.
what Yeah, one of my problems is I don't lose interest in the story I'm trying to
Yeah.
write. I lose interest in the genre or the topic. So like if I try to write fantasy, I'll be like, oh yeah, fantasy, and I've got all these ideas and I've got all these, and then I'll watch like film noir, and I'll be like, oh, I want to write a detective story.
Yeah, I do that
And
too.
I'm like,
Yep.
oh, detective, and then I like, oh, Unforgiven's on. Oh, I want to write a western. Oh, a western, and you just like. And then I have moved on from like four things, and I'm like, wow, okay, well, how do I go back to one of these? Like, which one do I go back to?
A good solution I have, the medieval story. I don't. Well, it's fine. Because the only people that listen to us are the people that are our fans, and I wouldn't mind if they rip some of my ideas off. And I'm sure it's been done before, anyways. And
Sure,
I don't
yeah.
know if I'll ever finish it. So I would be very proud if someone finishes a script or a book. But anyways, the way my thing I shared with you is going to be it's very much a set up like a west. It's going to be like the way I wanted it. It was set up like a western, but
Right.
in a medieval time period. And then, but like even that beginning, that whole beginning was just like very. I went a lot darker than I was intending, but I just like I was like, whatever. But that
I
was
kind of,
just me. That was just me, kind of just writing. I just was like, oh,
yeah,
that's kind of cool, and I was thinking about Stannis's thing, and like, I kind of incorporated some of that into it.
yeah. I kind of, I kind of did that with a few of my stories. Like I was like, you know what? I'm gonna make this a medieval setting. I'm gonna have these characters investigating a crime, murder, something. I'm gonna have these Western elements in it, and then I was like, "There's some other genre." I was like, "And I'm gonna put and it just got too much," and I was just like, "Okay, I've overloaded this story."
Yeah,
So
which
yeah,
happens.
I mean, it's it's fun to have that problem. If that's your problem, it's a pretty good problem to have. It's just frustrating when you're like, I really just want to write this, but you're like, I don't have time.
Well, but I even did that with this the my instructor's world that I'm writing in. Like I was like, I'm just gonna write like a 20-page script, which page a minute is
right.
the general rule.
Right.
If you listen to the Dana Buckler show, I think one of the directors on there said that is the rule, and that's actually not true. Some directors think it's the rule. Everyone argues it's not actually the rule.
Right.
It's a good way. It is a good way to set up your script.
I have and like you said, I've heard a lot of podcasts say that. Like I've heard a lot of people say this is like the general idea that most people have, that a minute a page.
Yeah,
some
people claim it is the rule, but it's not. It's just it is more professional for that if you can. But like for instance, the Lord of the Rings, the battle of the last battle that goes on, it took them like a week to film, where all the armies are amassing, and that's just like a paragraph on the script. I mean, that's not, that's not going to equal a minute, on screen time. So you got stuff like that, but so I'm like, I'll just write a 20-page script and keep it, 20 minutes max. And then I think I've written about 10 pages, and I'm like, I'm not even out of the beginning of the story, and nothing feels like filler to me. You know, it just feels like I'm writing it like a feature-length film.
Right.
Which that's why I have trouble. Like we do a lot of shorts, and I'm just like while filming them, I'm just like I don't like that. I don't. It just feels too rushed, and it's just because it's a short, and I'm not used to it.
Right.
So yeah, I don't know. I'm just used to feature links, or yeah. So even like hour-long episodes of stuff are fine for me, but and 30 minutes too. I could see 30 minutes.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I think a short, like I've heard people talk about that too. The shorts are hard because you want to keep it to obviously a short, a short time frame. So within that, you've got to get, everything that you're trying to convey about the character, about the event, whatever. And that can be very limiting.
It is, yeah. No, but at the same time, shooting 20 minutes of film, that's a 3 to 4 day shoot. That takes 3 to 4 days, 12-hour days to get that to be happy with that, and get the coverage and everything you need. And then you have to feed all your actors.
Right.
They could work for free, but you still have to feed them. So, and I did catering. I actually I did do a catering gig, and I learned how to do that, and I was actually pretty good at it. I like cooking, so. But I mean, for 4 days, it was $580 I spent, and that was because I cooked most of the meals. They had an $800 budget, so I saved them. 200.
Almost three. Yeah, almost $300.
Or yeah, well, 200 because I spent 580, and it
was, $580. Okay,
and sorry, they had an $800 budget, and there was 15 to 20 people on set per day, and I had to do breakfast and lunch. So, and that wasn't easy. And
no,
I will never do that again for free. I'd like it, but it is a lot of work.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it gets expensive, and that was for just someone's passion project. So, but anyways, that was another sidetrack.
It's always a sidetrack.
Yeah. It's just been it's been good to. I've enjoyed this tonight, is what I mean.
Yeah. I kind of needed this to, again, we've just been so busy and everything, but I've just kind of been in a funk too about, I'm just so tired about Game of Thrones and Songwise Fire.
I have to.
I still enjoy talking about it and interacting with people, but I'm just kind of like, ooh. And one of the sad things is we have some really good guests lined up, and we've got some good ideas percolating. So I think this will help us kind of restart, get the juices flowing again. But I think that's all I want to talk about tonight. I think we've talked about, all the stuff some of the news that's come out. We've talked about some things we're excited for, some of the things we've been working on.
Yeah.
And again, it's helped us kind of get back into it, and we promise we'll get back into a rhythm. We'll deliver you some content. We've got more minor characters to talk about. We've got some major characters to talk about. We've got some special guests that are going to join us, so be on the lookout for those.
And I'm so because I think I texted you it's been like a week or two, and I was just like, I hope you know, I just because I didn't want you to think, because I was slacking. I definitely was. I've been busy, and then but I mean, it made me feel better that you were going through a funk too, because I was like, I want to continue doing this. I think the break has, I think it was just a much needed break, and just but But yeah, no, I'm glad. I'm glad you were on the same page as I was, and that was it. Because
yeah.
But one more thing I would like to add.
Okay.
So Cole was talking to me about my brother Cole, and he's been a guest,
Yep.
for the listeners. I forget. I think episode 6 or I can't remember.
Yeah, I don't
the
know.
Blackwater episode, our original Blackwater episode, which we're talking about doing another one, which should be. I think that's gonna be really fun. But
yeah.
he was asking who saved Sam from drowning, and he's reading Feast for Crows. Keep in mind, and I'm like, that's how Hunt, and he's like, no, he's in Essos right now, and I'm like, what are you talking about? And he's like, when he gets in the bar fight, and I'm like, oh, okay, and I was like, it's just some random guy like that was out on the street, unless there's something everyone else is missing, but it's just always been him, and I was like, I thought you were talking about when he was a kid, when how Hunt saved him from drowning. And he goes, what? He goes, Kyle Hunt saved him? And I'm like, yeah, Kyle Hunt did that. He's got weird motivations. We don't. I was like, you should listen to our podcast about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
But he was like, I knew I liked that dude for some reason. Like, I know he was like a total piece of crap, but there was just something about him that wasn't like, he didn't. Yeah, I don't know. It was just funny because he was like, what? I missed that. I was like, yeah, I think we all miss that because it's just like a one-off thing that comes up. So
right.
But then I started talking to him about that, and that was today. So I'm like, I can't wait to
see where he's at. And what else to talk about?
Well, no, I mean, like, I can't wait to
get on here and talk.
Yeah, because it's just been so long. It's just one of those things. It's always when we get on and do it. It just I could be having I could be really tired or just feeling really stressed. I get on here and it's all gone as soon as. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, I mean, when we started recording tonight, I was like almost ready to go to sleep.
Oh, me too. No,
kind of wired right now.
Yeah, no, me too.
But speaking of the Kyle Hunt episode that we did couple months back, our friend Micah, who was a guest on that episode, he went and he wrote his theory. He put it on Reddit. It's called The Tragedy of Three Nights. Got a lot of comments, a lot of feedback, a lot of likes on there. So he was really proud of. Yeah. So
I haven't even.
I'll find it and send it to you. He did a nice job writing it up and getting it out there into the fandom. Got a lot of good discussion and feedback from the fandom. So,
oh, that's cool. Yeah, I'm definitely interested in that because Kyle Hunt definitely there's just something about him, like his motivations are just so strange, and and they may not be strange, but just the way he goes about it is strange, and I don't fully know what he wants. So
right.
Yeah.
Well, he's unlike most of the characters in the story who are very selfish, and I'm sure he's selfish in his own way that he desires things and he wants to be better, but as Micah pointed out, there's some real kindness that comes from Kyle's character and the way he treats Brienne and everything. So yes, he probably has this motivation to, we know he has this motivation to try and win her hand and everything, but he's not like some of the rest of them.
He's just so like he comes across as just like a straight up douchebag, but then he's actually more strange. I mean, like he does that, but then he buys like these thoughtful gifts. Like he was the only one to buy the thoughtful gifts for Brienne. Right. he talks shit to Randall Tarley. I mean, like, it's just weird. He's a weird guy. A good guy, but maybe I don't know.
There's a good podcast that you should check out sometime called Beyond the Screenplay.
Okay.
And what they do is they talk about films based on their screenplay, and like, they usually have a central topic for each episode. So like it might be like character arc, or it might be, a MacGuffin. You like how does the MacGuffin drive the story and all these type of things. Mm-hmm. But they have a saying on there where the editor is also the writer. So, the editor is the final writer.
Yeah. Yep.
So they look at everything and say, this doesn't make sense, or this scene, we don't need this scene, so we can cut it. Or, hey, it's part of the reason you need pickups because, this doesn't make sense because we didn't explain it enough. So we need this scene. Yeah. So, but I find that interesting that.
What? It's the same. There's a saying. I don't know if I'm getting it exactly right, but a movie's written 3 times. You have the screenplay. It's written during the production with the director and the DP, and then again the editor has a chance to edit through all of that. And what I've learned, the best way for production to work is bring your editor on set, and then when you're filming, have your editor informed about the shot list. They don't really have to be on set, but they're good because if you get behind and you have to start cutting shots, like you're like, we don't have time for this shot, and you have to cut out like a bunch of shots, you can turn to your editor and be like, what shots do you need to work with? Like, what do you need? Right. Do you need a wide? Do you need, you could, and they'll tell you, like, they'll be like, well, to make something usable, I'll need this, and that. And it is so helpful to have your editor on set. Just, they don't have to be there all day, but if you get behind and you're not an editor yourself, like it's such a helpful thing to have. And that's just one of those things I've learned. I've seen it happen. Like we had an editor on set and we got behind, and I've seen them be like, okay, we're gonna have to throw out this shot list because we just don't have time for it. And it's really cool to watch the editor just be like, well, okay, I need this and that, and then they talk about it for 10 minutes and they're like, okay, we got a new shot list, let's go.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's cool. But all right.
All right, it's almost midnight. We've been talking quite a bit. Good to catch up.
Our fairy godmother.
Good to get back into it.
Fairy godmother.
Yeah, the fairy godmother is coming for the last slippers or whatever that. I don't know. Yeah. So.
But yeah, no, this has been great. I've been really looking forward to this. I cannot wait to do this again. Hopefully, within a week or two, we'll sit down and record another one.
Yeah.
All right.
So that's all for Planetos tonight.
Yeah, I don't think we didn't do the intro, so we're not going to do that.
We're not going to do the outro. So good night, everyone.